Well, hi there. Welcome to a bonus episode of Real WW Talk. I am Erin.
I'm Candice.
And I'm Ricky.
So this is basically our gossip episode, okay? Just full out, straight
Bring
up.
on the tea. What's that tea?
Talk, ladies.
I did have iced tea in here.
Man,
I love going for the 32-ounce iced tea at Dunkin' because it's $1.99, and then I reuse my cup for water like a whole 2 weeks afterwards. I love it.
This is half tea, half lemon spindrift. So
Ooh,
like an Arnold Palmer.
fancy.
All right. I love that we all have our tea for the tea. So basically, this episode, we just saw some interesting things from WW. And so if you are not a WW member, then you're not going to care about this at all. If you are a WW member, your ears might perk up and hear some things because we've been sensing some shifts. Ding, ding, ding. And then Candice found, watched a video, or I should say a conversation between the Weight Watchers CEO with an anchor on CNBC. We're going to go ahead and play this for you so you can hear it. I've lightly edited it just to bring the length down, but I have not edited any of her words. I'm just going to play this straight out, okay?
Weight loss for 60 years.
Sima
80% of our
Sistani.
membership moved to digital over COVID, but we weren't taking a digital first lens. And I think that what you're seeing in that growth has to do with us delivering a better product. Weight loss is it's an emotional problem. And when you have a solution that works and you're seeing success, you tell others. And so what's happening is that the NPS is increasing. People are having success on the program, and they're willing to talk about it, and they're excited about it.
She's talking about how second
you're
quarter
sunsetting,
was
or you said in your recent earnings that you're going to sunset the e-commerce and consumer products offerings. Why?
They're low margin business, but more importantly, it's about trust. I don't think that we should be in the business of selling our own products and telling people what they should or should not eat. Everything is on the menu. And I think that, as our focus is on weight health, that's where we want to put our attention, is more wood behind fewer arrows. I think that what these medications are doing are finally getting us to recognize the biology behind living with overweight and obesity. And what we want to do is help our members have across the full spectrum of weight health solutions. And for those who are struggling with the genetic, biological underpinnings of obesity, then a clinical intervention makes sense. In the meantime, while we're in an environment of supply shortages, we provide a wide formulary, so we're able to ensure the continuity of care. And I think that's going to be really important as we are seeing demand increase, but we're still at the very early stages. It's in the zeitgeist and we're talking about it. There's still a lot of misinformation. So we're trying to harness that energy and really use this moment to destigmatize the conversation around obesity overall and impact access by getting people to recognize that this is a chronic condition.
What does this business look like in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years?
Right. Well, look, it's about the spectrum of care. We have our #1 doctor-recommended, evidence-backed behavior change program. But on either side of that, we have clinical interventions and functional interventions. So on the functional side, everything from our partnership with Abbott, such that people can wear the Abbott Libre CGM monitors so that they can monitor their food and how it impacts their glucose. And on the clinical side, when medically appropriate, getting the right medications so that they can adhere to lifestyle changes. But the foundation under all of that is behavior change.
So Sima Sistani, Weight Watchers CEO, that was in a conversation directly after the earnings reports came out and showed Weight Watchers was up for the second quarter, which historically it's never up, it's down because that's just the natural progression of the year. Think about the first quarter is January. People are high, they're ready to go lose weight. And then after those 3 months, it's down because now you're going into summer, and who wants to be losing weight over summer? And then third quarter, fourth quarter, you'll see it tick back up. So the fact that they had a really strong second quarter is pretty awesome because it means that people are excited and they're making the right moves to bring more people in and they're having success. which is pretty awesome. What were some of the takeaways that you guys like latched onto when you heard that?
I immediately latched on to her statement of digital first. And, one of the things that was a big discussion in the Weight Watchers community was how many meeting rooms had closed down and how there's been an increase in the number of online virtual meetings for those who have the meetings as a part of their subscription. You can now go to a meeting every hour if you want to, Monday through Sunday. I mean, it's constant, but the amount of in-person meetings, there's only 100 centers, I think, in the United States. They've really, really condensed that. And I mentioned to the ladies that another thing that, in addition to what the CEO had presented, was that I have been receiving a lot of surveys from Weight Watchers kind of saying, do you, as somebody who goes to has a membership with meetings, are you going only virtually? Are you going? I think that this confirms what we thought, which is that they are really pushing for Weight Watchers to show support to members in a more virtual digital platform versus the in-person kind of way that Weight Watchers has been of old. And I'm not necessarily surprised by that, because I think that COVID showed them that people liked it. I mean, there was pushback, but overall, the reports are showing that people tend to be okay with it. So that was surprising to me, because not surprising, but affirming of what I thought, what I suspected. What about you guys?
I think it was notable that they seem to still have a grasp on, keeping it behavior first. Like, that's the foundation. And even though they're searching and using all these research-based medical interventions, and they seem to be very careful about, who can use them. It doesn't seem like something they're just going to hand out at meetings. This is based in, looking at an individual and saying, does this person need it? And then with the foundation of behavior, going back to, you might be on medication, but why are we doing this? What can you learn while you're losing weight to have, a weight loss that's sustainable? So it seems like, even though there has been a lot of backlash on the medication, it's not just ascribing people to medicine and walking away. So I really appreciate that there's still that foundation of understanding that we all have a foundation that's emotional, and we need to work on, like we talked in our last episode about the reasons why, that, things that trigger us to eat foods, and that's not going to go away just when you take a medication to lose weight.
Yeah, I agree with you. I loved hearing her say that, and that the underpinning of WW is behavior modification. That's really what the tracking and being aware of what we're eating, that comes down to it. Whether you are taking, one of the pills or the shots or whatever it is that's happening right now, that it's still being paired with this aspect. I loved hearing that. One of the things that I picked up on, what I thought was interesting, was that e-commerce is being sunset. So no more, I'm attributing that to, like, no more WW bars, no more WW protein mixes, no more WW air poppers. Like, the store is going to be going away. So the plus side is there's going to be sale.
Yes. I was going to say, you're going to see 15, 20% off, 30, 40, 50.
Right.
But that was always, you all recall that was always an indicator that something was up anyway. When all of a sudden the cookbooks would be like, buy one, get one,
Buy one, get
off.
5 free.
Or that all of a sudden the coach is like, hey, I have a giveaway for you. You're like, plans changing. Yep. I know what's coming. But does that make you, after hearing from her, and we've always said this, Weight Watchers is a business, and they have a responsibility, they're publicly traded, all of the things. Does it in any way alarm you or give you pause in anything that she said, that you think they'll have to explain more to members? Or was it more, again, this is what I expected, this is where I can see the trajectory that they're going? and I can get on board with it.
I mean, I think we've seen with every change, there's always someone who's going to be unhappy. So I personally didn't see anything that or hear anything that was concerning. But I feel like some people hear what they want to hear, have selective hearing. So it's like, oh, you're getting rid of my snacks. Okay, I'm leaving. Or, oh, you're, not doing meetings anymore. I'm leaving. So I think it can go both ways.
Yeah.
It can be something that causes you to just decide to quit, or it can be something that decides to help you change. And again, like we talked about in the last episodes, for us, we didn't want to change our Saturday, weigh-ins. And I know, 2 out of 3 of us kind of felt like that was beneficial for us. But like, I think in general, even just changing things up, Erin, for you, it may be changing something else up.
Mm-hmm.
I think embracing change.
I changed. I'm still weighing in on Saturday, but I changed my tracker points reset date on Monday. I'm still doing that.
Okay,
Yeah, but you're not
yes.
gung ho about it, so that's why we're like,
Right.
She's like,
I'm there, but I don't have to be, waving ribbons in the air.
And the thing is, you don't have to do that. We don't all have to do the same exact thing.
That's right.
That's the thing. Like, I think just the willingness to change things has been what's probably been a good catalyst for all of us to have a successful summer, and I think that relates back to this because the plan can't always be the same. There's a problem if we were doing this in our 20s when the first time we walked through a door and the program's the same 15 years later, that's a problem.
And I think we also have to consider, and I want to hold a space for, there have been some changes that just really have not affected us because of where we are in the journey. Like, I know that there's implications if the meeting centers are reduced for lifetime members. Are they keeping the lifetime with the weighing in? I know that's been a huge discussion. We don't have any info, guys. I just want to say that because that's something that we see a lot in our groups. We don't work for Weight Watchers. Okay. So we don't know what they're going to do or why they choose to keep some meeting centers and why they don't. But I know that that's been a big discussion about how they're going to handle things as they are making shifts to accommodate what they had previously promised, which was that lifetime members would not have to pay. And the way that they did that was to confirm their weight by weighing in person. If those meeting centers, and we're going more to a digital first platform, that's something they're going to have to flesh out and really, really think about, because I know I might feel differently. Like you said, Ricky, or Erin, with the e-commerce platform. If I really love those barbecue, I like their barbecue crisps. I don't I'm going to freak out if I can't get their barbecue 2-point crisps. But for some, that might be something they had every single day and it really bothers them. So I think being able to see how and knowing what's coming for me, it helps me better prepare and to say, look, they're staying true to the behavior modification platform that it's always been, and not wanting to dabble too much into things that really aren't bringing them any value or return on investment. Because I'm sure that's a lot to put out there. I remember when they had smart ones. Do you remember the smart ones?
Oh, yeah.
And we've talked about that. I love that cookie dough. They're cookie dough ice cream smart ones. I was so sad when that was gone. It had a layer of fudge on it.
Yes.
But doesn't make sense for them anymore. Right. So that's what came to mind for me, is that it's easy sometimes when you're not the one who's affected, by some of the big changes. So I can understand.
And we've been fortunate that our in-person center, which that's how all 3 of us met, was in person at the meeting room. Our original location was shut down and they're in a different location. Candice, you mentioned something about, because I haven't been to the new location, and you said there's a different way when it comes to weighing in.
Yeah.
Like a registration or something.
I haven't been able to go to the new center yet. That's mommy stuff. But I see, and one of the things that Ed, who's a member who's in the group, was talking about is that there's a way you have to register now to be able to go to the actual meeting. There's a process. So when I went I was going to try to go last weekend, and you have to put in your name, what time you want to go. And I know they did that before with COVID because they wanted to limit But I suspect that it's more about tracking numbers because it's data. So if they're going to make a choice, they're going to say this many people are using the in-person meeting option. These many people who have the subscription are using the digital. And like I told you, I've been getting surveys that are asking about it. So I would encourage us to fill out. Remember, they pay attention to members.
Yeah.
So fill out that stuff so that they know they're not going to make a decision if the data overwhelmingly supports that they need to keep something. I think that's the way that you fight back if you don't like what's going on.
I don't know if you guys have been on Connect recently, but I did see 4 days ago, WW has a Connect account for their app updates. So it's www.app.updates on Connect. And it just said new app features coming soon, and to make sure you're following the account so you can find out the releases for them. And so two things that I saw as I was going through the comments, because they've got the beta testing for the app. One person wrote, "I love my new My Progress tab." And I was like, do I have that? Let me go look and just see if maybe I was missing it. I don't see the My Progress tab, so I'm interested in what that could be. And then a couple people have said that their blue dots have gone away. And so I think that's, I know that's kind of interesting. So like, is that like a glitch? Because the blue dots are all about when you've stayed within a certain amount of points, like a healthy eating pattern type of a thing. So I'm going to tell you something. If they get rid of the tracking streak, I'm going to be mad because I've just started my tracking streak.
I'm going to be okay if they take away blue dots, but add back the fruit and veggie tracker.
Okay.
And the smiley face.
But not the one. I don't want it to just be like fruit veggie check. They used to have it where it was like colored. Give me the tracker, okay? Like, very important. I'll give up the blue dot, but I wonder if they'll bring back gifts. What was the thing called? I've already forgotten what it was called.
Wellness wins.
Wellness wins.
I mean, I'm still waiting. I used to get my not Project Runway, my rent the runway orders.
He's like, I want to rent the runway,
for
and they
free.
took it away.
Still mad.
Oh my gosh. Did you guys also pick up too, as you were watching it, it seems like there's an even stronger commitment with WW in the partnership of the medicinal side, and not just talking about, what are they called? The GL1 and I forget what they're called, but basically like the Wegovy's and things like that. But even for those who are diabetic, I remember we had seen that earlier, a much stronger partnership between WW and hospitals and other health centers in diabetic training and partnership with that, which I will say, I really love the idea of that. I think that's so great. Remember when my mom was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, trying to figure out how to manage the diabetes, but also what does she eat while she's diabetic. I think that's a really awesome thing to be able to pair those two things together. And, we've got a lot of people who are in the Real WW Talk Facebook group with PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, which has insulin resistance that goes along with it. And I'm curious to see, a lot of times women who have that, they are put on the Wegovy, the Trulicity, those insulin drugs to be able to help them be able to balance. And then you get the added benefit of the weight loss that can go along with it. But I'm curious to see if there's ever been recommendations about partnering with the PCOS and maybe the diabetic plan, because it's geared towards helping insulin. And, back in our day, it used to cost 2 points for a banana. And I know that now underneath of the diabetic plan, you do need to count points for certain things like bananas, like different fruits, because of the impact on the blood sugar. So I just think that's really interesting.
I think it's very forward thinking. And I will say, I will applaud Weight Watchers for that, and seeing what's on the horizon and trying to adapt, because as we've seen, many programs have gone away, like Jenny Craig and some of the other ones, like they have not been able to adapt to the times and to what's needed by the new consumer. So I'm interested to see.
It's the first time that I've heard, you think about like the Jenny Craig and the Nutrisystems and whatnot, it's all geared towards get skinny.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the messaging that I'm hearing coming out of this is not get skinny. It is weight is a very real thing. And the mental aspect of the weight is very real. And
Mhm.
not only is it the mental aspect, but the physiological aspect. If we're talking about certain genetic factors, like really opening eyes to that, it's not just put the brownie down. In some instances, there are stronger issues at
Mhm.
bay. And so many people, especially in our group, who have talked about being on the Wegovy's, et cetera, the chatter, that brain chatter of, go eat this, eat, that gets silenced when they're
Mhm.
on the drug. And I think that's really important
Mhm.
to mention.
Yeah. And did you guys hear when she was talking? It sounded to me like she was saying the people who would be on Weight Watchers and, approved to be able to take some of these drugs wouldn't have the issues of the delays because of just the demand, the supply and demand chain that I think a lot of people who just are just prescribed it from their doctor have of, oh, the medication's not ready yet. I can't take it because it really has been in high demand and hard for people to get. So it sounds like they would have some deal with whatever some of these companies are so that, Weight Watchers could provide these people with this medication on a regular, consistent basis without,
Mhm.
not having access to it.
Yeah. I find that interesting because I
Yeah.
know that, again, my mom being a type 2 diabetic, and my mom was able to control her type 2 diabetes with diet and exercise for the better part of 20 years. But the natural progression of the disease, at some point, you will need to start taking probably insulin. You'll need to be taking other things to be able to help you. And so she's been on Trulicity,
Mhm.
and struggled very recently to be able to get it. Like it's
Wow.
been out of stock. And she was in the drugstore waiting for her refill. And there was a gentleman in front of her who also was there. It sounded like he was in a little bit worse shape than she was in
Mm.
trying to get his medication. She had a little bit more left of his. He was completely out. And he's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, you've
Yeah.
told me that it's in stock, but and you're going to order it, but I come here and it's not here, and you're not going to be able to get it for another 2 weeks. What am I supposed to do? Like, diabetes just doesn't suddenly take a break. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
what
It's
happened in
scary.
that case? So, yeah, I'm really intrigued that WW would have access and is able to do that.
Yeah, I was
Mhm.
thinking the same thing, Erin, when I heard her say it, and Ricky, even you through highlighting it. It's
Mhm.
great for those who choose to go through what the Sequence platform. I remember they
Mhm.
acquired
Mhm.
Sequence and they can, but the question that everyone was asking, what does it mean for those who need it for diabetes or for
Mhm.
diabetes management specifically and who aren't able to access it
Right.
because it's being set aside for those who are using it exclusively for weight loss. Not to say that their needs aren't important, but
Mhm.
Right.
who's making that judgment of who's more needing it in that
Mhm.
moment.
Right. And the reality is we can't even necessarily pit the two of them together because morbid obesity is
Mhm.
as much of a dire issue
Exactly.
Yeah.
as diabetes is. So I don't
Mhm.
think it's a one is more important
Right.
than the other, right?
Mhm.
We're talking about two major things.
I'm
Mhm.
just glad I don't have to make that decision because I
Yes.
think the person who's going through and is saying, I'm chronically in need of this and I'm chronically
Mhm.
ill
Yeah.
versus the person, like I said, we all will make determinations
Yep.
on who's more deserving. I'm going to
Mhm.
stay in my lane and say,
Yep.
that's why they have insurance companies and that's why
Yep.
they have doctors and
Mhm.
they'll figure that
I'm
out.
gonna stay at my lane because my problem is put the brownie down.
We're out again. Yeah. Yeah. So
All right. Listen, that's all we have for you. But we heard the Weight Watchers CEO Sima Sistani, and we were like, you know what? We just want to share that because we thought that was really, it was an interesting conversation, some interesting comments that we just wanted to bring to you.
but I
So
do have to say it one more time.
say it.
We do not work for Weight Watchers.
No,
We have no inside info. So
no.
don't come in the comments saying, well, why did you all decide to do? We didn't do it. Hands up.
Not us.
Not us. That's actually the beautiful thing about Real WW Talk, that we don't work for WW. And I don't even think that WW, and we know that some of the coaches recommend us and they listen to us, but like talking WW proper, they probably don't even know that we exist, which is great, which means we can freely talk about WW. And listen, we pay for the program, so we're not going to disparage WW. We don't want to do that. But it allows us, because we're not on a payroll, we can have an honest and open and real WW talk.
But we are open to meeting with Sima and Oprah if they need this member perspective. I'm just saying that.
I mean, if they want to fly us out to
at gmail.com, join our Facebook group, follow us on Connect. We are available.
Oprah can make a fake profile in our group. We'll allow that.
We know you're there.
I mean, and if she wants to fly us out to her state in California, I mean, we can open up our calendars for her.
But not Maui, because we can't go to Maui right now.
We can't go to Maui. We can't do Hawaii. But maybe California. That's
California.
Right. That's right. We'll bake a loaf of bread. We'll bring you bread, Oprah.
If you eat bread, you look great. So.
Which, by the way, you can tell great. Oprah's been working the plan. She looks amazing.
She looks great.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
All righty.
That's the tea. That's all we got.
Half tea, half lemon. You got it.
Arrivederci, Huns. Hey, catch us our regular podcast, our Facebook group, Instagram, YouTube. Just search Real WW Talk and you can find us anywhere.
See you soon.